Hey there. We're coming down to the end of the semester, guys and gals. And well, I'll tell you, I always enjoy this class, but uh, anyway, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed having you around and your questions and describing your situations and that sort of thing. I keep meeting people that are just so wonderful in the field of ag and those that are enthusiastic about it, want to get into it and that sort of thing. I do believe that there are so much opportunity in this field in the future. You're going to have to be quick on your feet and use your head and be smart about things. And like we've explained, if you can keep your personal finances in order, it'll make it a lot simpler. If you can minimize the amount of debt that you go into, you can get out of debt if you happen to be in that place. Um, and uh, and hopefully I haven't stepped on anybody's toes. If I have, I apologize for that. But sometimes just laying out the facts, you're going to actually stub a few toes or step on a few people's feet. And that wasn't my intention, but it may have actually you may have actually come to a better place, I'm hoping, or you've actually found a path that might lead you in a different direction or out of where you're at if it's not a very comfortable place. Financial peace is a lot of things. And once you start planning for some of your retirement, I've thrown up a lot of articles through the semester on that sort of thing. Doesn't mean that you quit farming or you quit agriculture or anything like that, but when you get a little older, then you can do what you want, and that's the whole idea. And you can pass on your ranch, and it's no big deal or less of a deal. It's always a big deal, but it's certainly less of a struggle, and it can be. I've seen many businesses go through financial havoc when they're passed on to the next generation. So anyway, those kinds of things. Hopefully you learned a thing or two on the way. Learned that you could get through a class. That might be a milestone. I wish you all the best. This week we're going to actually talk about the hiring and firing of people, and we're going to focus on the hiring end of it. Hopefully, if we do a good job of hiring, we won't have to deal with the firing so much, but you need to know some things about that strategically. And the whole thing is that with hiring the right person, just like it is if you have to go out there and buy a piece of used equipment, you've got to have time. And I don't think many of us, and I've been guilty of this, in my business career too, especially towards the front end of it, that we just went out and got a warm body and expected them to read our minds first and then to just do the job. And when it was a disaster, then we were very frustrated and maybe even angry. And I can say that I've been there. But the other part of this is that it's a great story for us in business. It's one of those things that early on after a couple of poor events, poor hires, and that sort of thing, and maybe even and blaming the person that I hired. I actually got a kick out of it, and I may be sadistic or something like that, I guess you might say, but I have had the great honor of actually leading some very wonderful people over the years, and I just can't say enough about that, of always being on the hunt, always looking for great people that might fit within your organization, and then taking the time to actually go through the process of properly hiring. And you can't do it all, typically, is what I would say. When I got married, and I haven't been married that long, but 15 or 16 years now, the using your spouse and not just leaning totally on yourself for those kind of decisions, because they can see things in different people that you don't. And I think that's just so essential. And following through the process and digging a little bit deeper than most people do in the hiring process is so very, very important. We would alleviate a lot of heartaches, financial distress because of employees that didn't do what we want, or even to the wayside of the thing where maybe criminal activity is actually potential or actually happens because of the hire that you make. And the big takeaway that I have from my hiring practices is that pretty much I'm responsible for those people that I hire. And so I want to do the very best for them, first of all, and I want to do the very best for my business, because my business is actually an expression of us, my wife and I and my kids, and I want to be able to take care of the people that are under my wings. For one thing, once I started thinking about it in those terms, then it became a lot more fun, and you should. I mean, you love agriculture, you wouldn't be in it. So, and after studying many operations that have had a lot of success, that's kind of what I've come to understand is how they do it too. Is that they're always on the hunt for good employees, and actually, when you get the reputation that you're a good place to work for, they come to you. So have fun with this. You might have to change your attitude. You know, when you go out there and you talk to people in ag, the typical story, which it is in all business, it's hard to find the right people. There just isn't enough people that want to get into agriculture. They don't want to experience agriculture. They don't want to work for the low wages that they might have to early on in order to maybe go on and stay with you. So anyway, enough of this, and we'll go on to the lesson. Hiring people, again, can be a lot of fun. It's all about attitude and how you treat them. And it doesn't mean that just like kids, spare the rod and that sort of thing, but you have to go about it a little bit differently. So good luck with your hiring and firing. And again, just like we said at the beginning of this video, if you do a good hire, then the firing end just kind of takes care of itself. If I have to let somebody go, I want to wish them well, no matter if they're the best employee or the worst employee. And that's kind of the attitude to go to work with every day. It sure makes a lot of difference.